Welcome to Creative Spaces Podcast with Guy Zwick, Chief Creative Officer of Highway 85 Creative. In each episode, we will discuss creative ways to define your space and build your brand.
You know what? I'm just going to jump right in to our next wonderful guest. I'm going to have them introduce themselves. What's your name? What company you're with? And tell me a little bit about what you guys do. So we'll start with...
my company is Warp Exhibits, also known as Warp Corp. Name is Todd Bell. We do tension fabric, so we take aluminum frames and make crazy stuff out of it. The crazier, the better.
So, your own tension fabric, your own shapes, like that's anything? I've heard of Warp before.
Typically, we're given a design that some designer has thought could be built.
Right.
And we have to figure out how to bring it into reality.
Yeah, so sometimes there's a bit of a tweaking on the architecture side, but ultimately...
Yeah, a little bit of mind-altering substances often helps.
Well, that's
cool.
Perfect name for Warp, though. I'm going to come back to that because I do want to talk about. Because I'm sure you have some really good stories about some phenomenal tension display stuff you've done. But before we get into that, I'd like to introduce your colleague here.
So I'm Tina Brown. I also work at Warp. I am basically the client relations director, but I like to say it's the MIH director because I make it happen. You know, I'm the one who's out there saying hi to everybody and getting to know everybody in the industry and hopefully introducing them to Warp. So that's what I do basically. But I have to say, most people ask me, what does Warp stand for and where did Warp come from?
Sure.
Well, I never knew that either when I first started, so that was one of my first questions, too. So I said, where did Warp come from? In fabric, there's two directions of weave. One is warp, and the other is weft.
Okay. Warp.
I'm not exactly sure how we became Warp, but that's where the Warp came from. So here we are.
No, that's so. And how long have you been with the company for?
It'll be 4 years this summer.
And how long have you had the company?
I started Warp in '92, so we're 26 years.
Are you a born and raised Seattle guy or what?
I'm a Seattle native.
All right, so you Seahawk
If
fan.
I knew you'd better, I'd show you my Warp, the webs between my toes.
Come on, better. No, so I've been to Seattle. I've been to Puyallup. I've been to
Puyallup.
Yeah. Who's a quarterback from there, right? Ryan Leaf was from Puyallup, I think. Went to Washington State. Anyway, so I an old girlfriend used to work in Seattle. Been there. When I went there for the first time, it was in the summer, and I thought I was in the Wizard of Oz. It was unbelievably gorgeous, green, and then I started going back in the wintertime. Like,
not so much.
Now I get it. No, it's just there's a lot of people in Phoenix who sort of have two lives. You guys in the summer and us in the winter. So you've been doing this for quite some time then.
Actually, I started out sewing.
Okay.
And used to do ski bags for REI.
Yeah.
And made Moss tents for 7 years. We
There's
made
Moss.
1,000 tents a month.
Okay.
And in 2000, all the tent business went to China.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh shit, what do we do now?
Yeah.
So stuff we're doing now, you can't take to China. Well, you could, but we literally got an order Friday. We had to deliver Friday. 50 panels of fabric had to go out the door in 5 days.
And you made it happen.
Your
made it happen.
Your manufacturing's in Seattle?
I'm in Seattle and Vegas. I have a factory in both.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So you're not. So do you live in Seattle? Or you live here? Or
half and half.
Gotcha. It's a question for another beer. We'll get into that later. Gotcha. All right. So, Dee, but before I ask questions about the industry, do you want to ask any questions here about the industry?
Well, I mean, yeah, just like how many employees do you guys got under you? Stuff like that.
20 plus.
20 plus. Okay.
So dig this. I have two employees have been with me over 30 years.
That's a good sign.
It actually is.
That's a great sign. Yeah.
It's weird when you grow up with someone and you basically work with them every day.
That's a bit warped.
Yeah.
So no, it's just the two of you here that are representing the company, or
Correct.
do you have more?
We have more coming in tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a booth here?
No.
Just
We have a factory here and an apartment and all that.
Did you guys think about having an exhibit here?
We have exhibited here about 12, 14 years ago.
Right.
And because we're kind of stepchildren,
how do you mean?
Our customers are here. You are my customer.
Okay.
We don't deal direct with the people that are typically at this show. We deal behind the scenes. We're building for the exhibit houses.
So you build for us. So when you say, so who's at the show then?
My impression is the show is for people looking for exhibit houses.
Okay. And
I
partners.
know it varies from that, but
sure,
that's the main intent.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
That was the next question. So it's more beneficial to you guys to sort of just walk around, meet some people, let them know.
We'll talk to our customers, and there's suppliers of ours here too.
Sure.
Lighting, fabric, framework, Agam, Noctinorm, those kind of people we buy from.
Is that tension fabric right there, this booth?
Absolutely.
And is it, I'm sorry to ask such a newbie question, but are they very different? Is a Warp-produced product way different?
Well, yeah, ours, the red doesn't bleed onto the white.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's called Artisan Tension Fabrics by Warp. I'll be here all week. I love it. No, I appreciate it because listen, I've been in the industry for quite some time. A trade show for trade show people, you can get some. Overall, to me anyway, the spirit is overwhelmingly positive. It's collaborative, and I like that. But you're going to have the bad apple everywhere. That's how that goes.
Yeah. But, it's our forte, and this harkens back to where we started. I mentioned we made moss tents.
Sure.
If one knows about moss tents was the pinnacle of the pyramid of tents you could buy. Right. Their entry-level tents start at $350. They are expedition quality tents. REI bought the brand from Moss and brought the manufacturing to us because they knew our quality.
Okay.
And we made, like I said, 1,000 tents a month for 7 years because they knew our quality.
Right. And
so
REI,
we're bringing that into the exhibit world of, I'm not trying to be the Orbis. I'm not trying to be the WS Display. I'm not the cheapest.
Right.
However, I will say that I'm going to rival the best.
Okay, so some of your clients are some pretty high end stuff.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right, so you sit with their designer.
Nintendo.
And
We've dealt with Nintendo for many years.
So there's
and you want some big shit? That's some big shit.
Yeah. And this is I love. That's a great descriptive word too. I'm with you.
No, that is. That's very cool. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. You talk about fabric. You want it lightweight and whatnot. The walls we do for Nintendo, the fabric weighs 1,200 pounds.
Oh, it's a lot of fabric.
The fabric.
So is it always wrapped around? Are the frames that you wrap it around always different, or is it pretty much all mountain?
Well, the fact of that is that it's a wall 25 feet high, 200 feet long.
That's a big wall.
That's crazy.
That's a lot of fabric.
Talk to Trump. You might want to use it.
That's a lot of fabric. And the booth they did 2 years ago, there was enough fabric in that booth to completely cover a football field, including the end zones. Put the math to that.
That's a good
that's a lot
deal.
of fabric.
That really
and
is.
Highway 85 has found us, or we have found you. And we work with you a lot. But surprising to me, the last time I was at Highway 85, I found out that you guys did not know we did the small stuff. You thought we only did the big stuff.
Well, give me an example of small stuff.
Well, like that.
Okay.
For instance,
that's
not
smaller than
huge.
that.
Devo, you
Even
guys don't
smaller
do
than that.
fabric in house. You guys do. You have a CNC.
Yeah.
You don't do fabric in house.
Yeah,
do you?
we usually kind of try to find out, work with companies, and they do that. We're trying it, but I mean, we're still young, so we're going to go to the professionals. And as a designer, I'm part of the designing crew with Highway 85. So it's interesting to come up with a concept and then to send it off, and then it's like, holy! When you get it in front of you, it blows you away always. So the fabric is I know for me, and I think, is it kind of new to this industry?
20 years ago, I think it started. Well, actually, to put the credit where it belongs, Moss started it.
Okay, Moss.
So in 2000, Moss was going off into the trade show world and sold their tent stuff off to REI. They were going full on into tension fabric. So
and Moss Displays is still there.
They're still there.
Yeah.
Not owned by Marilyn Moss, so things have changed.
Sure.
But they're still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So trade show wise, and it's just you have a wealth of knowledge on different sides of it. But
We've
if
done some shit.
If I was going to ask you, so there's some canned questions that I want to just throw out there. We can answer them or not, however we see fit. One of the questions on my sheet here is, what's your favorite part of a trade show as a vendor or exhibitor or attendee? And if that's kind of a lame question, you don't want to answer it, you don't have to. But there's some people that like it. So if I ask that to you, what's your favorite part of a trade show? As
people.
Yeah.
I have to
straight
say,
up.
the people are the best part. If it weren't
It's a
for the
great
fabulous
answer.
people in this industry, we wouldn't have what we have. But I started in this industry in the 80s,
Okay.
believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I got out for about 10 years just to get my kids off to college
Sure.
and everything. And then was like, oh, I really missed it. Once you get in, it's like you almost can't get out, like forever. So
it's like Al Pacino in Godfather 3.
I just miss the people. I miss the excitement. I miss the
energy.
Yeah, the energy of the show floors. I don't know. It's just, everybody says, oh, and I remember when the internet came out.
Okay.
That's how old I am. But I remember when it came out, and everybody's like, well, there's never going to be a trade show. After the internet takes over, there's never going to be a trade show again. But you know what? At the end of the day, people really just want to buy from people, and especially people that they like, and we love you guys. So
I love what you just said. And I know we're sort of preaching, to the same choir, but the demise of the trade show industry has been around for a long, long time, right? It's over. It's everything's digital. We're not. There was 2 interviews ago, a woman had a quote, something like, "As smart as your phone gets, it's never going to replace a handshake." I know it's a bit, but it's very. To me, it's powerful because, yes, what you just said, selling 101 from Mad Men days, right? People do business with people they like. If he has a product and I have a product and his is a little bit better but you like me more, that's an easy decision for you in general. And so, people, in my opinion, I think grossly discount the power of having conversations, of having meetings, of let's go out, show me your factory, let's get a beer, tell me about your dogs, your kids. That kind of stuff basically says, wow, we're human and I kind of like you and there's a way for us to do business, we're going to do it. And people, we get so wrapped up on ROI and marketing qualified leads. And yes, you should try to find a way to get things out of there's a lot of money in the fabric and the setup and the I&D and the travel. But don't discount handshakes. Yeah. Don't discount relationships. And to your point about people, just wanted to, it's poignant to me too because trade shows are a lot of work. And there's a lot of time away and a lot of travel, but if you do it right, they can be rewarding. And please don't marginalize the efficacy of conversations with people.
Hopefully the millennials get that.
We were just talking about. This guy's a millennial, and he's got a beard to show it, but I'm trying to explain to him that no, there's in my opinion, there really can be a marriage between technology and handshakes. There should be. I mean, you have design that you can touch for a reason, right? Smells are for a reason, but so yeah, I just wanted to. It's my soapbox, but I wanted to make sure that I got it out there. So your favorite part is the people. And let me ask you another question now. Follow up to that. Why are you thankful for trade shows?
Sorry?
Why are you thankful for trade shows?
Why am I thankful for trade shows?
Because let me set that for you. Because this whole booth is, listen, don't treat trade shows, as I got to do it. Treat it as an opportunity to do stuff.
I've never thought of a trade show as, I got to go to a trade show.
Right.
Ever. In my life.
But you know what? Some people, on the inside, people do, on corporations.
And you know what? That's never, ever, ever going to help a company if you don't have people in your booth that completely are engulfed in enjoying it.
Sure.
I mean, if you're not enjoying being there, you shouldn't be there.
Right.
Those are the people that should not go to the show if they do not enjoy being there, because it just sends off that negative energy, But at the end of the day, you always want to build relationships.
Sure.
And go from there.
Beautiful. And then same question to you about. Let me ask you this: if there's one thing you could go, are you going to say
why
something?
I'm thankful?
Yes.
Is it has been a fun journey.
Right.
And it hopefully will be till the end.
Sure.
To stay in this industry. I've done everything, from production to sales to design and everything. And when you work in every facet of the industry and you know every angle of it, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of people that are involved. We just do one little tiny piece.
Sure.
We do fabric. Right. We do tension fabric and SEG stuff. That's what we do. But there's so many other parts and pieces that go into making a trade show work. And everybody has their specialty. And if you have a team that everybody goes together and works together and brings forth a great show, can't fail. Can't fail.
I bet you, I can guess as to the answer you'll give. But if here's the question, because then I'll go to your colleague and boss man. If there was one thing about the trade show industry that you think could be improved, what would that be?
That one.
No, I mean, I want to go. You can answer it, but no, if you don't have it, we'll come back to you. Maybe it's perfect. We'll go back to you then, Todd. So in general, thankful about trade shows. Makes me money. They buy my stuff.
So I can remember early on when I was selling and doing trade shows, and they just felt good.
Right.
It was like, that's fun. And now that I'm in the industry, it's like, how ironic. I really enjoy, for me, and being the business that I have, it's the problem solving.
That's cool.
It's
and he's good at it.
I'm
really
often
good at
accused of being MacGyver.
Nice. That's a cool thing.
And I love the creativity.
You can actually see it.
The slam against the wall was like, no, they can't be done. And all of a sudden the light goes on. And you're like, but wait a minute.
Yeah,
what
that's
if
cool.
we did this? And you're
Can
like,
you
done?
Can you, without, and if you don't have to name names, but can you give me an example, something like that? Or it doesn't have to be specific, but in general, like the frame doesn't work, or you can come back if you can't.
No,
think
we
of it.
we just had one the other day. I'm trying to think of what the customer was. Oh, right. It was trying to hang a very large hanging sign.
Okay.
And they wanted to rig it, like 20 feet on a side by 70 feet. They wanted to rig it off 6 rig points. I'm like, you're crazy.
4. They started out with 4.
It's like, you're crazy. This can't be
70
done.
feet around?
No, it was rectangular.
Okay.
So 20 by 70 by 20.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And it was only 4 feet high, so still, it's like it's going to sag. There's a few signs here that do that. You're like, that can't be done. And
right.
so you're like, no, you really need to grab this sucker up 14 rig points. But all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, why don't we bridle some of those rig points into one and boom, done.
So
it's all of a sudden the inspiration of, oh, wait a minute.
That's cool. So that's wonderful. And then are you, to the theme of the mantra for us, what are you thankful for trade show wise?
Again, just the ability to be creative, the ability to be thrown projects that you're like, this can't be done, but wait, we can do this. Yeah. And I'm accused of that. I had an ex-employee that was with me for 13 years. He's now a shop teacher. But he's like, you make me crazy. You always say yes to everything. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know at the time, but I will fucking figure a way out that we will build this thing.
That's wonderful.
That's like
I'm going to go off script, MacGyver, and ask you a question. How do I phrase it? If you're hanging out with some corporate, if Boeing from Seattle comes to talk to you and says, hey, I think trade shows are over. I think they're dead. There's no ROI in that. What do you say to that after you hit them?
I say it's short-sighted. I think the personal contact is huge. The ability, Boeing may not be a good example because there's not many people that are going to walk in and plunk $200 million down. But say a Microsoft that's selling a piece of software or not, that I think as we alluded to earlier, the face-to-face, the shake the hand, the meet the person behind the phone, the behind the keyboard, I think it's really important.
I'm agreeing with it because in my world it's about digital stats and pay-per-click and conversions and phone calls, and that's well and good, and that's fantastic. But don't discount coming here. I have one of my clients do a bunch of shows in America, a bunch of small little pop-up shows, but there's 60 of them in America in rural areas, and it might be the only time that sales guy can actually talk to people from Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois. And so trade shows as just a way to have an excuse to have conversations, that by itself is good. Now, if you can do that and show up in style, then you're doing something. And if you can even have a 10 by 20 and look good.
It brings so many people in a focused area together that you can really in a short time see a lot of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. People and digital gurus, I think, forget that. Hold up, we can actually.
The difference too is behind the digital side. It's hard to know the depth of that digital signal. And I say signal. It's like how. It's easy to put a facade on, but at a trade show, you're not putting a facade on. People will read through what you're projecting,
and you are talking, right? Yeah, and you're going to go out to dinner, but you're right. You can show a really cool animated bit.
That's easy. There's a lot of slick presentations, but when you get on a show floor and meet the real person, see the real deal, it's like, oh, that's not what it was shown digitally. It's like that's so different. So. For me, like I buy digital printers because that's what we do, and to see the specs and they play it up, and then you see it on the floor and you see what it can do, you're like, yeah, no, that's not it.
That's awesome. All right, question to you, last one for you for now is, if this industry, the trade show industry, could change or improve, what would that be?
Good luck here. Okay, thank you.
More beer,
more beautiful women, and more free alcohol,
and more fabric displays.
No, there's already too many. They need to be less, and they need to come to me.
Done. Give me your. Actually, I'd like your card, by the way. That'd be good. So I've been asking some of the guests that I enjoy their company. Part of what I do with Guy Zwick, the owner, is to sort of produce a once or twice a month sort of podcast. Thank you. And it's meant to help people who are in the industry get more value out of it, to think through things. Would you guys have any inclination to be on the radio show one time, just to sort of 15, 20-minute conversation about yourself, about some things exhibitors can do to, something like that. Be on the show at some point.
Yeah, game.
I'll reach out to you. It's more along the lines of this. It might be specific to I have an 80 by 80. I got to rig a sign. I got to do this. Some ideas that you guys, because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that you do that is beyond what I'm seeing here. Correct?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
But you do go downstream a little bit too, right? There are some modular solutions that you have, or no?
I got people talking right behind my
ear. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not
going
to talk
over or something, because I hear them more than I hear you.
Yeah, we can move you over here.
Sorry. Yeah, and I'm thinking, I have headphones on, so I could.
Thinking everyone else does.
I have headphones, so I can hear myself, but
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm a ding dong.
I have hearing aids, and I'm turning the volume up.
Anyway,
I'm going bionic. I'm going, okay, turn that up.
No, as long as one of us
final question for you is: your company? Do you guys go downstream? If I was a company, If I was a company and I wanted to exhibit, I don't go directly to you. I go to a house like this, who then might figure out. Do you have solutions that are what I call downstream, sort of lower, 20 by 20 type stuff, or are your solutions
like a catalog to go to? No, and then the reason why we don't is because we take your designs.
Okay.
That's his job.
Yeah.
If I provided that, then he wouldn't have a job.
All right,
we actually have some stock products that we do offer.
Okay.
Work off of.
That you could take and put in with other pieces.
All right, but your bread and butter is I have a concept. Can you do it?
Exactly.
That's cool.
But we have some starting points as well.
If I went onto your website, can I see some of some work that you guys have done? Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. And how do you guys know each other?
I worked there.
Yeah, but how did you know him before that? You met him at work?
Oh, serendipitous.
Long.
Nice.
Story for a beer some other time? Got it.
I don't know.
All right.
It was a referral.
Gotcha.
One of her bosses was one of my first customers in the exhibit industry, who actually, ironically, I had bought an exhibit from 10 years earlier.
This is so funny
But
how things
I
go
know,
around,
it's
right?
incestuous.
That's crazy. Are you guys here all week?
The way this industry is.
Till tomorrow.
All right, well,
Wednesday.
Gotcha. Debo, did we miss anything talking to these fine people?
It was a great interview. I think we got a lot out of it, and I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have a nice rest of the show.
Thank you for listening to Creative Spaces Podcast. For more information about Highway 85 Creative, visit us at highway85creative.com.